Now, Dana Point might be one of my favorite cities, and I'm going to share with you the pros of it, but I'm also going to go through the cons of why might you not want to move to Dana Point. So in this video, we're going to go through 5 pros and 5 cons of living in Dana Point, California. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Christian Stubbs. I'm a local realtor here in Orange County, and the reason I make these videos is to help home buyers like yourself figure out, is Dana Point right for me, or any of these cities in Orange County? Is this the right place to go to? So like I said, let's go into the video, and towards the end, I'm going to share with you one thing that I think is super interesting about Dana Point. Okay, so let's go into the pros first. So the pros are the reasons that you might want to move to Dana Point. So let's start at number 1, which is pretty obvious, is Dana Point has some of the best beaches, maybe in the world, but definitely in Orange County. Laguna Beach is really known for their beaches. Newport's fantastic, but Dana Point has some hidden gems for beaches. They have 2 main differences, or 2 main different beaches, I should say. So you have Salt Creek, which is right off of the Ritz-Carlton, has some of the most famous restaurants. Ritz-Carlton is an unbelievably beautiful hotel right on the cliff in North Dana Point, right on the water. You also have the Waldorf Astoria, which was just purchased relatively recently. They have a beach club as well too, but on these beaches, you have the Salt Creek Beach, which is famous for surfing, absolutely gorgeous white sand, very clean, very neat, snack bar, huge grass patch, basketball courts. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful beach. Unbelievable views, Catalina, clear water. You can go in, it's very private. If you want, you can also go farther south, which you can walk from the beach. It goes all the way down to the second part, or the second half, which is lower, is the Strands Beach. And the reason it's called the Strands of the Headlands is you're gonna have this big, beautiful cliff on the south part of both of these beaches, and this is called the Headlands at Dana Point. And there are some of the most beautiful homes in all of Orange County that are on the south side of this beach, and their front yard, or really their backyard, is the public beach and the ocean. These houses range from 10, 20, 30. There's one listed over $50 million right now. So this is an incredible beach area that you have public access to. You can walk through this neighborhood to get down to the beach. I personally do this all the time. I walk down there, and I have about a 4-mile stretch there and back if I walk from the Strands all the way up to the point at Dana Point under Monarch Beach. So this is one of the most beautiful stretch of beaches that there really is. It's super accessible, tons of parking, very easy to get to. Okay, so that's that. At the south point of Dana Point, you have Doheny Beach, and you have the Hole in the Fence. If you're a local, you know what that is. But this is more of like the campground, more family, you're gonna see bikes, you're gonna see a lot more activity down here at Doheny. There's a ton of surfing. This is more for beginners, or if you just wanna kind of chill, if you are a surfer. The waves aren't anything crazy. You can go out there, there's kids, there's adults. It's a really good mix, but this is where you got a lot more sand. This is where Dana Point has their festivals, so any concerts, they're usually done in the Doheny campground area. So you can take your camper van, you can take your Mercedes Sprinter conversion, or your travel trailer, or just go tent camping down at Doheny. There is a portion that's just for camping, but there's also just a parking lot where you can go park, have a bonfire, sit in the bed of the truck, and do all that fun stuff as well too. So Dana Point has some fantastic beaches. That's pro number 1. Number 2 is weather. I won't spend very much time on this. This is pretty obvious. But I would say one thing that's unique about Dana Point's weather, as opposed to maybe San Clemente or Laguna Beach, which is what's north and south of Dana Point, is that it doesn't get this marine layer in the morning nearly as bad as some of like Laguna Beach or San Clemente will get. You have really, really clear views almost on every day of the year. You have Catalina views from the north side, and the south side you can see all the way down the coast. Dana Point's really beautiful, great weather, you never get too hot, and it really doesn't get too cold because you don't really get as much of the marine layer as you might in other cities. Okay, now outdoor activities is pro number 3 for Dana Point. You have obviously all of the water activities. You can paddleboard in the harbor, you can go surfing at any of the beaches in Dana Point. There are hiking trails, there's a lot of biking, there's a lot of running events, there's a lot of outdoor activities in Dana Point. You can also go into one of the shops where you can rent an e-bike, you can rent a golf cart. A lot of that stuff's gonna get more and more active as we get more development into downtown Dana Point, which I'll get to towards the end. Number 4, this pro is, it's just a high quality lifestyle. It's very low crime, very good schools, and tying into the fifth pro is it's just a luxurious lifestyle. You have the hole-in-the-wall place for food, you have the hole-in-the-wall place surf shop, you have all kinds of boutique stores, but you also have your normal luxuries you would have in any luxury city. Now this is where I'll tie in to what I was gonna share towards the end of the video, but I'll go ahead and tie it in now, is Dana Point is doing their harbor revitalization. This has been under works forever. They're spending about $500 million on completely redoing the harbor. Now that is already underway. They're making the boat slips larger. If you can get an idea of why they would do that, it's really gearing towards a more luxurious lifestyle. The goal was to make Dana Point a destination as opposed to a pass-through, which it has been for quite some time. So they're putting in a ton of money into the Dana Point harbor, which is spilled out, and a lot of commercial money and a lot of developers have come in. So when you look at PCH, which goes up the coast, there is this stretch on Del Prado, which is really your just kind of main street, if you will, for Dana Point. A ton of commercial money that's moved in there, really high-end retail and high-end apartments up above that. We're gonna see a tremendous amount of value and appreciation in Dana Point, especially in that Lantern District and in the Monarch Beach area of Dana Point. These are the pros. If you have any questions on these, or if you don't think I hit something that you like as one of your favorite things about Dana Point, let me know in the comments or shoot an email back to me, let me know. But let's move into the cons. So these are the things that you might wanna know if you're thinking about moving to Dana Point before you actually move there. So number one, if this isn't already obvious from explaining all the pros, it's a really high cost of living to live in Dana Point. Now it's not quite as high as somewhere like Laguna Beach or Newport where the average price point is double, but Dana Point has an average price point of well over $1 million and it's closer to the $1.5 million mark. So the really nice part about Dana Point, I'll tie this in as a good and a bad, is yes, it's extremely expensive. Orange County is going to be expensive in most places, but you also can get into a normal-ish price point in that median range as long as you get away from the coast and ocean views in Dana Point. Dana Point's a pretty big city in comparison to some of these other beach. Newport's enormous, but Laguna Beach is relatively small. So Dana Point has a lot of like the inland living that can be a little bit more affordable, but it's still an expensive place to live, of course. Number two is traffic. Any beach city you're gonna run into, you're gonna get tourism. This is only gonna get worse in Dana Point, and frankly, right now, it's not that bad. You have 2 or 3 major hotels, the Ritz-Carlton, Waldorf Astoria being the nicest, that do obviously bring in a lot of tourism, but you're really only gonna see a lot of the tourism on the weekends in Dana Point, which is okay, but if you're going down to the harbor on a Saturday afternoon, you're probably gonna wanna make sure you get there a little bit early so you can find parking, maybe take your e-bike or an Uber or something to make your life a little bit easier, because you're gonna have some of that, and it's only gonna get worse as Dana Point gets more and more well-known and more popular. So that's your tourism and traffic are really the cons, number 2 and 3. Number 4 is public transportation. Sounds a little bit ridiculous because if you know Dana Point, or if you've been familiar with Dana Point, I've lived here my whole life, and public transportation is immensely better than it was before. There is a trolley system, which is basically little trolleys that go all over from San Clemente, Dana Point, Laguna Beach. This is relatively new, which is really nice, but it doesn't have the best public transportation. You can go to the train, but it's not really super convenient. San Juan Capistrano, Laguna Niguel have train stops, and in Dana Point, there's not really a good option. So your public transportation's okay. You're definitely gonna need a car. It's not super walkable, but I think we're gonna see more golf carts and e-bikes in the future. Okay, now number 5. This is location for Dana Point is fantastic, but I will say it is as far south as you can really get other than San Clemente in Orange County. So if you're looking for, or you're working in LA and you do need a commute, you're gonna be adding about 20 to 30 minutes on your commute, unless you were to live in Newport or Irvine or one of those cities that's just a little more central for Orange County. Dana Point is about as far south as you can really get. The good part is you can get to the freeway really quickly from almost anywhere in Dana Point. So as opposed to taking PCH up, you also have the option to take the freeway, which makes traffic a little bit easier. But anyway, that is considered a con because a lot of people do have a complaint that, gosh, it's just so far away from Irvine and Newport and LA. You're definitely closer to San Diego if you're in Dana Point. So if that's more your vibe, that might be a good thing. So it really just depends. So like I said, towards the middle, I think the big takeaway for thinking about Dana Point is really understanding what the future for Dana Point looks like. Another thing you might want to consider is to stay updated on not just this city, but all of the cities in Orange County, is to register for our newsletter that we send out every single Friday. It's gonna update you on what's going on in the real estate market, what is going on in our local market. So if you want to see that, you can go to ocmarketupdates.com, or you can reach out to me and ask to be added to it.